Not even gonna do the small talk today, Jerry. I'm feeling sick. They just canceled Arthur. Fuck it. Let's just start the show. Welcome to the reigning, defending, blah, blah, blah. Nobody asked Shawn. Shawn Murray, Diamond, blah, blah. Heartthrob, Kentucky Derby. Let's get to the show. We're going to talk about motherfucking the return of COVID and some other shit. But first, we're going to talk about Simone Biles. I was going to talk about Simone Biles anyway, but then also somebody sent me a question, and they were like, did Simone Biles bail out because she choked and she was scared to take the L? Is she the new Ronda Rousey? It's like, I mean, first of all, no. Like, shout out to Simone Biles. First of all, she's already the GOAT. You know what I mean? Like, she's the best gymnast, one of the best Olympians ever, one of the best athletes that we've ever seen. Like, she's dominated her sport in ways that we can't even imagine. It's not a choke. Like, you can't even compare it to Ronda Rousey because Ronda Rousey got her ass beat on pay-per-view, and then she was never able to recover from it. Like, Simone Biles has won multiple medals while injured, and she's won at the Olympics and elsewhere. Like, she's great. I mean, nigga, she sat out the competition. If she never went back to the Olympics, she's still one of the greatest. Like, that's how good she is. So she didn't choke. I hate that this shit like this becomes a big deal. Like, I like that, you know, people are using it as sort of a beacon of hope to people who, like, are struggling with mental health and like, hey, take a mental health day. Like, you're fine. Like, you'll be okay. But like, it shouldn't even be this big a deal. Like, let's let her sit it out. Like, motherfuckers are like, oh, she's supposed to win medals for her country. Like, my nigga, I think I need to realize something. Black Americans do not compete in the Olympics for America. They compete to win medals. There's some countries where people are so proud to be, like, representing their country, and it means a big, like, motherfuckers don't give a fuck about America, dog. Motherfuckers want to win medals to prove that they're the best, nigga. Simone Biles ain't out there for America. Simone Biles is out there for Simone Biles. And ain't nothing wrong with that. I mean, I'm sure she's out there for her teammates as well. But you know what I'm saying. Like, she's not out there for fucking... Nobody don't give a fuck. Niggas is not competing for America, dog. The Dream Team ain't go out there for America. The Dream Team went out there because they was nice. They'll drape the flag over their shoulders and all that shit. But niggas don't go home and like be proud to have fought for America. And like, this shit ain't for America, bro. This is for bragging rights. Like, it's just another thing in the trophy case. It wasn't no choke, man. She wasn't feeling it. I support it, but also it's not like a radical thing. Like, I mean, it shouldn't be a radical thing. Rather, maybe it is radical, but it shouldn't be radical that somebody was just like, nah, I'm good. Not today. Not gonna happen today. Like, that shit not that big a deal, bro. Like, fuck the medals. Like, fuck the Olympics. Like, yo, people. It's so funny how people pretend to give a fuck about the Olympics. Nigga, you don't give a fuck about gymnasts. Name 5 gymnasts. Not even the 5 best gymnasts of all time. Name 5 gymnasts that aren't Simone Biles. You can't do it because nobody gives a fuck about that sport. We give a fuck about the sport because of Simone Biles. So if she decided to sit the shit out, it's like, damn, it just sucks that we can't see Simone Biles. That's all you got to say. Ain't no fucking she let somebody down and she's being a brat and all that. Like, like, who gives a fuck, my nigga? Like, no one should ever have to explain why they took a day off. Especially not to niggas that even, like, you're not her boss, nigga. Niggas think because they are Americans that Olympians have to answer to them. Fuck that shit. Nobody cares. Motherfuckers be acting like when the U.S. lose, you're losing out at a medal. The medal don't come to you, dog. When it's like, we won the medals. It's like, no, we didn't do shit, nigga. I've never played water polo. I've never fucking been on a balance beam. I've never played international basketball. Like, I didn't win a goddamn medal. I can't swim. I don't know any of the strokes, be it swimming strokes or Julia Casablancas' friends. I don't know any of them. So if you think she choked, sure, who cares? Whatever. She's still the best. Congratulations, she choked and whatever. Ronda Rousey could never. I don't think athletes owe us anything, but of all athletics, the people who owe us the least of all are the Olympians. And here's why. Like, at least, like, in the NBA, the NFL, a tennis match, whatever, like, you paid actual money to go to these games and have these motherfuckers perform. You know what I mean? You want to see them entertain you. Niggas ain't pay shit for the Olympics. I mean, maybe this year you might have had to pay for Peacock for some of this shit, but for the most part, nigga, you was watching this shit on NBC for free. These niggas don't owe you a goddamn thing. They owe this nigga Ralph Lauren and Nike way more than they owe us, nigga. Like, if Simone Biles got to answer to Nike, I understand they might be on her head a little bit. But as far as, like, some nigga in Wisconsin, shut the fuck up. Like, who cares? You don't care about this. You don't. What else? This nigga DaBaby's an idiot. And it's just getting funnier and funnier. Like the shit this nigga be doing and saying is just outrageous. Whoever threw that busted ass Adidas at that nigga is. I just want to know how was he able to determine that it was Adidas as it was flying past his face? Like maybe that's how good his reflexes are. Like he just saw it in slow mo. It was like, damn nigga, that's a goddamn night jogger. Goddamn Adidas. That shit is just funny, man. Like this nigga's an idiot. Did you see that post where the nigga was like, don't try to stop hate with hate or some shit like that? It's like, bruh, that's chef's kiss level like trolling. It's like, buddy, what you said and what niggas are saying in response to you are not equivalent, dog. Like this nigga was talking about. The nigga said, if you don't have HIV or AIDS or whatever, and you're not sucking dick in the parking lot, put your phone up. It's like, what if I do have AIDS, nigga? Now I'm just like, I can't even put my phone. Like, how is this supposed to make me feel, nigga? Like, am I a bad person because I got AIDS, nigga? I just don't understand. Like, all the things you can say at a concert to get the crowd energized and like engaged. Why would HIV even come across your what interaction did he have before he took the stage that he felt the need to bring that apart to be a part of his stage show? Like, what was going on, dog? Like, there's so many other things. If you taking care of your kids, if you not broke, like all a bunch of shit that's still singling out somebody in the crowd. But at least it's kind of like I can understand how you got there. You know what I mean? Part of hip hop is all the like, oh, I got money. If you got money and them broke bitches don't put your phone. Like, sure. Just imagine you said it about like if you're recovering from multiple sclerosis and the other people that have MS or not, put your phone up. It just be like the flex, be like, what made you go with that one? Like, why would you say that, dog? And then like the nigga responds to it. It was like, I'm not trying to stop you from being you, so don't try to stop me from being me. It's like you being you is calling out having HIV, AIDS as like a negative personality trait. That's who you are. Then maybe niggas should put a stop to. Like that's the thing. I think the most misinterpreted piece of advice, or like the most misinterpreted phrase that's ever been uttered on earth is be yourself. Like some of you niggas don't need to be yourself. Some of you niggas need to be like a different guy because yourself sucks. Yourself fucking sucks, dog. You gotta just go through the phone book and find somebody else you could be, my nigga, because the person you are is not it. It's really a shame because like I think in 2018, 2019, this nigga DaBaby was one of the best rappers out. That nigga's flows were incredible. He was funny. He was witty. He just had energy and like interesting perspective and shit to his music. And then one, he flooded the market, and two, this nigga. I mean, somebody had a tweet. It was like, this nigga PR team has not stopped working since 2019, and that's a fact. This nigga just don't stop. Like, yo, just chill out, bro. Just sit down for a little bit. Just go ahead and sit down and reconsider. Read some literature on the subject. You sure? Fuck it. Like that's like, you know what I mean? But not the fuck it. It should be a lot more you sure in your mind and much less fuck it, because this nigga is a maniac. Is an absolute maniac. What's the other thing I wanted to talk about? COVID, the Delta variant and shit. It's just I truly don't understand niggas not getting vaccinated. Like what is the argument? Like at this point, truly, what is the argument? Because like niggas be saying, oh, you don't know the long-term side effects. Like, okay, so the long-term side effects we don't know. So let's say there might be some side effects that pop up when you're 60, when you're 80. What about the short-term side effects of COVID, which is that you die, you can't taste anymore, your lungs are fucked up, you got to use an inhaler, you die, you can't smell, you die. Cause like I know a lot of people, they be saying like, oh, I don't want to take the vaccine and then I have a kid. I'm worried about what it, I won't be able to take care of my kid. But what if you die from COVID? Will you be able to take care of your kid then? Who's gonna be taking your kid then? You know what I mean? Like I don't understand. And like, what side effects are you worried? Like if you understand the science of what the COVID vaccine is, right? It's genetically basically teaching your cell how to fight the fucking the virus, right? So what would be the side effects of that? Your body being better equipped to fight the virus, correct? That's like saying like, I'm worried about the long-term side effects of putting my daughter in a jiu-jitsu class. It's like, your body put somebody in an armbar at some point, but like you saw that coming, right? Like that's what you signed her up for. That's what you wanted her to do. I don't understand like what side effects. I understand niggas saying like, oh, you shouldn't be forced to get a vaccine, but like you kind of should because you've been forced to get every other vaccine up until this point. And like why would you not want to be vaccinated? Why would you not? Because everybody who's like, oh, I want to do my own research. The people who get paid money to do research have done the research and they're like, yeah, it's probably fine. So you've already gotten every other vaccine that is on the market other than probably the flu vaccine because niggas, that's something you could choose not to get the flu shot every year. But for the most part, got every other vaccine. And it's like, would you rather niggas be walking around with COVID? When polio was on the scene, when polio was walking around in his bell-bottom shoes and strutting the streets of fucking New York City in its heyday, it was like niggas would have been begging to get a vaccine for that shit. In fact, they were. And it took way longer than it would have nowadays, but they got the shit and, boom. And now niggas don't have to worry about polio. You, a person who doesn't want to take a vaccination, doesn't have to worry about polio. Doesn't have to worry about polio. Currently, today, polio is not an issue for you. So why won't you just get the COVID? Like, I'm not trying to die of COVID, dog. And even if I don't die, I'm not trying to lose my, like, nigga, you know how mad I would be if I lost my sense of taste because niggas cough some fucking COVID into my lungs, nigga? Or my sense of smell, which is tied to taste. Yeah, so it's like, nah, dog, I would be furious. Especially if it's a nigga I know because they're like, I don't want to get the vaccine because... what are the side effects? The side effects is like I'm probably gonna live longer than you actually. Yeah, I mean like I'll be fine. Like and also like if it's some side effects down the road, niggas be out here smoking cigarettes talking about, but I want to know about the long-term side effects of COVID. Nigga, your lungs are black. You gonna sound like Young Jeezy in a few years, nigga, with the raspy ass voice, and you talking about some damn long-term side effects. Like smarten up, dog. And like this ain't directed at anybody in particular. So my friends who out there who haven't got the vaccine, this ain't about you, but just get the vaccine, dog. Let's say 90% of the people got the vaccine, and then we all drop dead tomorrow. You gonna feel good about that? Like you gonna be like, damn, at least I outlived my friends and family. Like nigga, you would hate that shit. You would be miserable if every one of your friends started dying. Like at least you could die with us. That shit don't sound encouraging, but it actually is. Think about it, my nigga. Living a life without your friends and family is awful. You ever see like a 120-year-old person? I mean, one, them niggas can barely even, like, move or speak. But two, they don't be seeing them happy because it's like, nigga, they ain't got nobody to talk, like anytime a 120-year-old person says, yo, remember when? Everybody's like, no, nigga, you 40 years older than my grandma. Hell no, I don't remember. What are you talking about? So I wouldn't want to outlive all my friends and family. Let's all die together by getting the vaccine. That's not going to kill us anyway. Question time. Nobody's asked Shawn. Send in your questions. Blah, blah, blah. Nobody asked Shawn on Instagram. Nobody asked Shawn at gmail.com. Text me. Blah, blah. Question 1. Have you ever had a Joker stand-up moment on stage? That's part of the game, dog. I've had so many of those. But probably the one I remember most is I want to say it was 2014. It was the first time I was doing a feature-length set at my hometown comedy club, the now-defunct Joker's Wild Comedy Club in New Haven, Connecticut, formerly at 232 Worcester Street. Rest in peace, the Joker's Wild. You were awful. But it was the first time I was doing a feature-length set, which is 25 minutes. And I think it was the late show on Friday. I think it was the Friday late show. And I was going through my set. It was early in my set. And it wasn't really going well. And I did one of my strongest bits at the time. This bit was one of my like go-tos. Like I knew no matter what, this had like a 98% success rate. Like it always hit super hard. And I did the bit and it fell flat so hard that I looked at my friend in the back of the room, one of my fellow comic friends, and I was just like, oh no. Like I said it out, I was like, oh no. Like, cause like, and we just started laughing because like, I was like, oh, I was probably maybe 4 minutes into a 25-minute set, so it was like, oh, this is gonna be a long fucking night. And it was brutal. But I have a lot of those. Like, I mean, especially like, when you trying new shit, it's like a lot of shit, it's got to be, you got to audience test the shit. So you don't know if it's funny or not. You think it's funny. It might still be funny, but you got to, in front of the wrong crowd or with the wrong delivery, it's gonna fall flat. So yeah, a lot of those. But that's my favorite. I think about that shit all the time. Like I said, oh no, out of my mouth. Question 2: do you think they really have celebrities out in Cuba that they said have died, or like, like no, hell no. Here's the thing, like, why would niggas go to Cuba? Like, what are they like? What, like Tupac, right? What would have made Tupac go to Cuba? First of all, the first reason I know Tupac's not in Cuba is because this nigga Tupac would not be able to shut the fuck up for that long. Like that nigga. I mean, one of the things that probably led to Tupac's death is that nigga just couldn't shut the fuck up. Like, for better or for worse. You know what I mean? Like, that was one of the things admirable about the nigga, but it's also like, this nigga just would not stop talking and being Tupac. It was what we loved about him, and that's probably one of his worst traits. He was always in the mix. So this nigga would not have been able to shut up for what, 25 years or whatever the fuck. 2, like why, like to be away from it all? Like, niggas would have spotted that nigga by now, bro. None of them niggas is in Cuba, dog. Like, this nigga Tupac is not in Cuba. That nigga is in a coffin. Question 3: why does Kanye West live in a stadium? Because he's going through some shit, man. Like, I mean, on one level, this nigga Kanye is an incredible marketer. Like, this nigga knows what he's doing in terms of like getting like the conversation around him. But on the other hand, stop it, dog. Just give it a rest. Like, because the album, he was supposed to drop the Donda album, and he did the big listening party at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, and it was a big deal, and he was supposed to drop it at midnight, and he didn't. And the whole press release is like, oh yeah, he didn't drop it yet because he wants to finish it and get it right. It's like, nigga, then why did you tell us you were going to drop it? Like, that's what I don't understand about, like, they be like, and then like, his fans be eating that shit. I was like, yeah, I don't even want to hear it until he got it right. It's like, nigga, just finish the album and then release it. Like, the standard practice for releasing an album for decades upon decades has been, hey, you work on an album, you complete it, you turn it in, you get it mixed and mastered, and then it's released to the public. Kanye keeps doing this dumbass shit where he's like, oh, the album's not actually done, but I said it was done, I was going to release it, but come on, man, yeah, no, you want me to finish it, right? It's like, you could have just finished it, dog. Just finish it. That's okay. It's okay to just do that. So this nigga's living in the stadium because it's cool. It shows the work ethic. Like, oh, this nigga just grinding it up. Like what about being in Mercedes-Benz Stadium? How does that add to the strength of the album? Nigga, you could just go to your house. It's not like Mercedes-Benz Stadium is where music happens. Like, it's not where music is made. Like, this nigga was at a soccer match or some shit the other day, just scrolling around. It's like, it's just a spectacle thing. It's like, oh, this nigga sleeping in the stadium. He's working hard. It's like, he's not an athlete. Like, there's nothing about music that, you know what I mean? If it was like, I remember Chad Ochocinco was saying that, he was saying on one episode of I Am Athlete, great podcast, check it out, that when his first 2 years in the NFL, he lived at the stadium. And that makes sense to me. He's like, this nigga needs to work out. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, he did it to save money, but it's also like, okay, he just go down on the field and practice as soon as he wake up, get some breakfast, go to the field. You know what I mean? Wake up, go to the weight room. It's all the access to the facilities and shit is right there. Why would a nigga, like, when niggas sleep in the studio, I get that. It's not a studio at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's a fucking event space. Just go home. Go home, bro. What is your favorite limited run comic book? Probably say this comic called Mind Management, Mind MGMT, by Matt Kent. It came out somewhere like 2014 or something. Very, very, very good series. It's kind of about like this writer, this, like, like he's like an author, like a journalist or something, and she's like investigating this mysterious flight that I think like it went missing, and it's like all this kind of spins out into like this government agency stuff, the secret agency stuff, and like. There's like psychic abilities at play. It's fucking great. It's like, it's really cool because it has like these kind of like scribbles in the margins and like around the borders of the book, and it adds to the lore of the story and everything. It's like, it's really well done. So that's awesome. I mean, as far as like mainstream limited run stuff, like the Matt Fraction Hawkeye series, it's one of the best like short runs ever. My favorite comic book of all time. I wouldn't necessarily call it a limited run because it was around for like 5 years, but Sandman, Neil Gaiman's Sandman is my favorite. Watchmen, of course. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing. None of this stuff is super unique, but those are some of my favorites. Are you more excited for Soggy Bottom or The French Dispatch? Ooh, that's tough. That is. I mean, we got Paul Thomas Anderson versus Wes Anderson. Both two of my favorite directors, two of the best directors working. I'm gonna give the edge to French Dispatch, and here's why: because it's coming sooner. You know what I mean? Like there's a trailer. There's the marketing started. It was supposed to come out last year. It didn't because of COVID. It's gonna be here. You know what I mean? Soggy Bottom's not done. We don't actually know. We know it's a coming of age story, but we don't really know what it is yet. We don't even know if Soggy Bottom's the official title. Probably isn't. So like, I'm more excited for French Dispatch because like it's tangible. It's right. We're very close to it. But I'm super excited. Like Paul Thomas Anderson, I like. He might be the best director living. Like he doesn't have a bad. The guy's never missed. I know the person who asked this question doesn't feel as strongly about Phantom Thread as I do, but I think the guy's never missed. I think he's it's tough. It's like he's a tough out. Like you know what I mean. Like if you put Paul Thomas Anderson in a versus, it ain't too many motherfuckers that's getting him out of here. You know what I mean? And the motherfuckers that would is because they have a lot more movies. But it's like, I mean, this nigga could go this blow for blow with just about anything. And it's like, you would probably give the edge to someone like Spielberg or Scorsese. But it's like, I think his peak versus anyone else's peak, which I don't think his peak is ended yet, it's a tough out. This nigga said talk about crack. Crack is a tough out as well. It's like, nigga, like, nobody's getting crack. Like, crack is the most powerful substance known to man. Like, like crack has the strongest marketing team of all time. Like, it's like crack. Like, everybody's like, yo, this shit is like crack. It's like, nothing's like crack, dog. Nothing's like crack is just like, you know how, like, there's something like the jacuzzi or like a Xerox machine where it's like, or Kleenex where it's like, it became synonymous with the brand. Crack became synonymous with something being fucking amazing, but also something being completely devastating. Like, crack is very amazing. Like, shout out to crack. I mean, not shout out to crack, but I mean, shout out to crack. Yeah, I gotta give it up for crack, man. Give it up for crack, but don't do it. But give it up for it. Final question: is it me or did the pandemic make women hornier? I think the pandemic made everyone hornier, or not even hornier. Like, how do you measure how horny somebody is? I think the horniness has been consistent throughout all time. I think what it is I think what the pandemic did is, by virtue of limited supply, it made motherfuckers more explicit about how horny they are. So motherfuckers are ready to just do whatever the fuck. Man and women both. So I don't think people are more horny. I think that there's just less fucking around. It's like, let's get to it. And all right, now let's get to the end of this segment. Let's get to the end of this motherfucking show. Like, subscribe, share, save, all that shit. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I know I said I was going to get a guest on this week, and I also said I was going to get a guest on last week. But guess what? I didn't feel well this week. So, sue me. As always, Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.